This is RTV6 News at 11, working for you.
Now at 11, Muncie police are crediting the relationship students build with school resource officers every day as the reason why they were able to stop a dangerous situation. Good evening, I'm Amanda Starantino.
And I'm Mark Mullins. An officer received a tip about a student with a gun, and police were able to resolve the situation in just minutes.
RTV6's Nicole Griffin shows you police want this to serve as an example of what went right and how it ultimately saved lives.
When I found out, I was actually terrified.
Taylor Anthony is a senior at Muncie Central High School. She was in class looking out the window as this scene unfolded.
A whole bunch of cops surrounded by a guy on the ground.
Police say it was a 15-year-old student who left class. A school resource officer got a tip that he was coming back with a gun. The school resource officer was able to notify Muncie police officers out here on the street, and they made contact with that student here on the corner of Myrtle Avenue and Walnut Street. Within 3 minutes, they had him in custody.
She called me and told me. That scared me. I'm really glad she's all right. I really am.
I'm scared. I kept thinking back to all the shootings that have been happening, and I was like, oh, God, not my daughter.
Police say they don't know yet what the students' intentions were.
I don't have anything that I can release to you to say that there was going to be a school shooting today, but I think the fact that we know for sure it was a student and that he had a handgun is not a good sign.
Police say this case is a perfect example of what went right, starting with someone who felt comfortable sharing a tip with a school resource officer.
The big thing we try to get with them is to have, to get to know the students, to get comfortable with the students, so that something like this could be told to them.
If you can go to someone you trust, you can tell them, and if they're on a higher up, they can help fix it better than you can.
It's a message police hope parents share with all students. If you see something or hear something, report it because it potentially could save lives. Working for you in Muncie, Nicole Griffin, RTV6.
And tonight, Muncie police say the student is being held at the Youth Detention Center. We're still waiting to hear the potential charges. Police say they believe this was an isolated incident and students are safe to return to class tomorrow.
New at 11, RTV6 is working for you, shedding light on an Indianapolis road that drivers say is dangerous.
I was just very happy to, for RTV6 to actually bring this issue forward.
Bernice Anthony is one of many people concerned about the condition of Wilson Road between Lafayette and Eagle Creek Park on the west side. They describe the road as crumbling and say several drivers have gone off the road and crashed because of the problem.
Here's the issue is that as you're coming up this road, there's all these drop-offs. We don't have the barriers that you see in some roads that allow so that you don't have cars falling off the road. Right.
RTV6 reached out to the Department of Public Works. DPW says crews inspected the road after the issue was brought to the department's attention about 2 weeks ago. They determined an emergency closure was not necessary, but they are working on a plan to update the road to prevent future problems. For now, safety cones have been placed along the road. If you have a problem and need help getting answers, contact us at workingforyou@rtv6.com.
Now to the forecast, and here's a live look outside from our tower cam in downtown Indianapolis. It is dry now, but Kevin is tracking a chance of storms tomorrow. Kevin.
And we've got some time before those arrive. More on that in a second. It's comfortable. The humidity was down today. We're at 74 in Indy. Bloomington leading the way into the 60s. There's your line of thunderstorms well to the north. A cold front will push the chance for thunderstorms into central Indiana, primarily during the afternoon hours tomorrow, and it may be late afternoon into tomorrow evening. Not an issue as you wake up in the morning. It will be dry and comfortable. Temperatures mid to 60s. One change from today. Humidity will climb during the day tomorrow. Temperature will be just as warm. 84 at noon. Afternoon temperatures in the upper 80s. We'll fine-tune the thunderstorm chances and look ahead to the weekend as well coming up.
We'll see you soon, Kevin. Thank you. Police say charges will be filed tomorrow against a man accused of shooting his pregnant girlfriend in Anderson. 29-year-old Alexis Wasson was carrying twins. Today, we learned the second unborn child has died. The other baby boy died Tuesday. Wasson remains on life support at this hour. Investigators say fiticide charges will be filed against Skylar White. According to court documents, White told his mother Friday's shooting was an accident.
IMPD Chief Brian Roach says the department expects to have more info next week about a deadly shooting during a traffic stop.
We were canvassing Sunday, came across some witnesses that we didn't have Friday and Saturday. The investigators are still working on that, still putting all that together. There's still interviews to do.
Roach gave an update this afternoon about Friday's shooting. He says 2 officers shot Deshaun Downing after he pointed a gun at another officer during the traffic stop on 42nd Street on the northeast side. Police have said from the beginning the officers were not wearing body cameras.
There is nothing, either video or testimony, that a couple things that has the whole story and that saw it all. There are people that heard things, and there are others that saw things, but nobody's able to put all those pieces together. But at the same time, we have not heard anything that would indicate that which I just told you is different.
For a more detailed breakdown of what police say happened and to watch Chief Roach's full statement, go to the RTV6 app and click on this story.
President Trump and the First Lady are headed back to Washington after visiting El Paso, Texas and Dayton, Ohio today. The 2 cities are still grieving the mass shootings that killed at least 31 people. ABC's Romina Puga reports protesters lined the streets in both communities.
Wednesday, President Trump and the First Lady keeping a low profile, traveling to Dayton, Ohio and El Paso, Texas, visiting wounded victims of the weekend's mass shootings and personally thanking first responders.
All over the world, they're talking about the job you've done as police, as law enforcement, as first responders.
But in both cities, many not welcoming the president's visit. Dayton's mayor saying in a press conference she confronted the president on gun reform, but isn't very hopeful.
Do I think that we're going to see another mass shooting tomorrow or Friday? Probably, because Washington will not move.
A short time after, the president criticizing the mayor and senator, tweeting they'd misrepresented what took place inside of the hospital, calling it a fraud. Miami Valley Hospital releasing this image of the president greeting staff. In El Paso, the president receiving another lukewarm welcome. Residents saying it's his words that are sparking violence.
He has promoted a lot of this, all this anger. He has promoted it across the nation, and it needs to stop.
Before leaving Washington this morning, the president dismissed claims that his rhetoric has emboldened white nationalists.
I think my rhetoric is it brings people together.
The president has left Texas, but here in El Paso, we've seen the crowds continue to grow as his community continues to take care of each other, showing up with food and water. One man even bringing therapy dogs, really embodying that El Paso strong messaging we've seen since Saturday. In El Paso, Romina Puga, ABC News.
A vigil will be held in Bartholomew County tomorrow to honor the victims of the recent mass shootings and call for stricter gun control. It starts at 5 o'clock on the steps of Columbus City Hall.
Indianapolis Mayor Joe Hogsett is calling for an independent investigation after the leader of a city agency was allegedly called a homophobic slur. The Indianapolis Housing Agency has a not-profit group called Insight Development Corporation. Rod Morgan, the chair of that board, is accused of using the derogatory word against John Hall, the IHA executive director, after a meeting last month. Only on RTV6, Hall talked to our Rafael Sanchez about that incident.
I am familiar of the alleged comment, yes.
Should Mr. Morgan step down?
I think if he's under investigation right now, he should immediately remove himself. It is a very serious nature. Not only is it derogatory and discriminatory, it also undermines my authority.
We reached out to Morgan, who has yet to respond. Those who say they heard the comment reported the incident to Human Resources.
Calling all grandparents, you can help mentor the next generation of kids. Foster grandparents work with students during the school day. People 55 and older can apply to serve as one-on-one tutors to children. We spoke to students taking part in this program in Greensburg and their grandmother.
Sometimes I have a bad day and Grandma helps me cheer me up. Like today, I read a book with her.
And it made you feel better?
Yeah.
They all seem to like me pretty well, you know. Sometimes when I walk past certain ones, they'll hold their hand out to give me the, what do you call that?
High five.
High five.
High five. Thrive Alliance sponsors the program in southern Indiana counties, but the program is offered in every region across the state. Wheeler Mission is more than halfway to a $12 million fundraising goal that will help support more women and children in central Indiana. The campaign has raised more than $7 million. The funds will finance an expansion of the Center for Women and Children. Today, the organization announced a major donation of $3 million from the Lilly Endowment.
That will allow us to break ground this fall. The commitment from Lilly Endowment
has allowed us to be a year ahead of where we thought we would be. That's an important message to the women and children of this community that are homeless. And the message is that they matter.
Once it's finished, the center will include 164 new permanent beds, a secure child care area, and an indoor play space for kids.
Construction on a new field house in Greenwood is set to start next year. Today, the city unveiled the final design plan. The project will be the main component of the redevelopment of the former Greenwood Middle School in the heart of downtown. Officials announced last year the property's north gym will be preserved and repurposed as a field house.
Instead of pencils and paper, these students use shampoo and conditioner as school supplies. How learning cosmetology skills in high school is saving them thousands of dollars.
And winning lottery tickets sold in Indianapolis expires in less than 24 hours. Coming up, details that could help detect the mystery winner. You're watching RTV6 News at 11.
Jetta, Tiguan, and select Atlas models.
This is RTV6 News at 11, working for you.
At this time, we believe these are the bodies of the two suspects wanted in connection with the homicides in British Columbia.
The international manhunt for two teenagers accused of killing 3 people may be over. Authorities believe they have found the remains of 19-year-old Cam McLeod and 18-year-old Briar Smigelski. The search for the teens started after an American woman and her boyfriend were found dead on a remote highway on July 15th. A third unrelated victim was found dead several days later. Surveillance cameras captured the suspects at a store thousands of miles away from the crimes. Investigators finally found a key piece of evidence last week.
On Friday, August 2nd, that one critical piece of evidence was found. Items directly linked to the suspects were located on the shoreline of the Nelson River.
Dive teams found the bodies in that river. Police are now waiting for the coroner's report on how the teens died and are still trying to figure out the motive for the murders.
An American pilot who crashed his plane in the Canadian wilderness and recorded his efforts to survive is now sharing his story.
As I started to enter the tree line, there was a loud explosion and a large tree came piercing right through the bottom of the airplane. It missed my leg by about an inch, actually ripped my shorts and scraped my leg.
Matt Latonen was traveling from Newfoundland to Quebec City when his plane lost engine power last month. After surviving the crash, he faced another difficult challenge, being trapped alone in the wild miles from help. He gathered materials to build a fire, hoping rescuers would see the smoke.
I got fire, sticks, and my lighter. Let's see what we can do.
I just feel grateful. I mean, the people that I'm amazed on how they handle it are these guys that are jumping on the helicopters, putting their lives at risk to save one life. It's just amazing to me.
Latonen spent 5 hours stranded. He says he documented his experience to help others who may end up in similar situations.
And that will help, I'm sure.
Well, don't let yourself or someone you know miss out on $50,000.
Yeah, a Powerball ticket worth that amount expires at 5 p.m. tomorrow. It was purchased at Pike Food Center on Pendleton Pike in the far northeast side of Indianapolis. The ticket is for the February 9th drawing. 5 o'clock tomorrow is the final deadline. The winner will lose out on the prize if the ticket is not claimed by then. Someone stole a kitten from an Indianapolis pet store, and an animal welfare group is asking for your help getting her back. Johnson County Community Cats is offering a reward for the kitten named Riesling. They say she was taken from a Pet Supplies Plus on County Line Road near Emerson Avenue sometime Friday. The group says the theft is especially upsetting because Riesling was a feral cat and workers spent hours socializing her. You can report tips to IMPD or call this number 317-914-4211.
Facials, manicures, and makeovers. There's big business in those services. And tonight, Hiring Hoosiers shows you how one local high school is helping students go from classroom to career in the beauty industry. The Walker Career Center at Warren Central High School has a 2-year cosmetology program. Students spend 4 to 5 hours a day learning the tricks of the trade. After completing 1,500 hours, they'll be able to earn a state cosmetology license. Instructors and students say this saves a lot of money.
If you go to a PJ's, a Paul Mitchell, Tricoci, it's $20,000, $25,000 to get your license. Here they spend around $650, $700.
I don't got $25,000 to spend a year going to like a beauty school, so it's really convenient that I can do it while going to school and like graduate through this.
Students also work with actual clients in the salon, which allows them to build their communication skills. Prices are much lower than what you would spend at a normal salon. And a reminder, an annual job fair hosted by Congressman Andre Carson is tomorrow. The Central Indiana Job Fair goes from 10 to 2 at the Ivy Tech Culinary and Conference Center on North Meridian Street. It's free and open to the public. For more info about any career, job, education, or training opportunity you see on RTV6, go to hiringhoosiers.com. Well, tonight we are celebrating a big milestone.
30 years ago today, our Kevin Gregory joined RTV6. The rest, as they say, is history. All week long, former and current co-workers have been sharing memories and kind words. Tonight, RTV6's Rafael Sanchez reminds us, while Kevin is fun and fun-loving, he takes his job of working for you seriously.
And Kevin Gregory is just calm. Now, he's not calm because he doesn't care about human life. He's not calm because he's being aloof. He's calm because he knows his business. He has the mastery of being able to pinpoint the problem and tell you what you need to do. And I think in those moments when we need him the most, tornadoes, severe weather,
south of Peru,
flooding,
near Bunker Hill,
you just want to have someone who's going to just say, hey, I know it's bad out there, or it can get bad. Here's what you need to do.
And we are lucky you're still working with us now, Kev.
It's been a great, recognition here today of the milestone. I'm proud of it and ready to move on to year 31.
Yeah, we're moving next day, right?
You've got it, yeah. Just like the weather's always
changing. We're 30 in one day
And we were
now.
talking about it seems like an awful long time, 30 years. And in my world, everything's a 7-day forecast. That's a lot of 7-day forecasts.
Right, stitched together.
Yeah, you got it. All right, chance for thunderstorms tomorrow. Now, I don't want to pick your hopes up too much. I do think we'll have thunderstorms. I don't think the coverage will be that impressive. Some of us will be left out. And then we head into another dry stretch, more than likely through Monday. The chances of rain early next week are low. They'll come back up on Tuesday. We'll keep our eye on the intensity of any potential thunderstorms tomorrow afternoon into the evening hours. Damaging wind would be the main threat from any of the stronger storms. This is the slight risk from Muncie back to Indianapolis and Greencastle, and then down to Seymour, Greensburg, and Richmond, all included in that. Temperatures tomorrow, they'll be just as warm as today. The difference from today, the humidity comes back up. Today was quite dry. The air lacked much in the way of humidity. That'll be a building block for thunderstorms tomorrow, and then on Friday, back in the lower 80s. The wind that starts in the southwest during the day will eventually switch to the west and then northwest by tomorrow night. That's the impact of the cold front. That will also be the spark for thunderstorms late in the day into tomorrow night. Once the front goes through, that cooler air will continue to pour into the state. By noon tomorrow, about 83 degrees. More sunshine in the morning, more clouds developing in the afternoon. Temperatures push above the average into the upper 80s, and that increasing chance for thunderstorms first to the north, then into central portions of the state as we go through the afternoon hours. Thursday, 1 o'clock, not much happening. Just a few thunderstorms at 4, a few more by 7. But you see what I'm talking about here, at least with this model run, not painting a wide swath of thunderstorms for the afternoon. Temperatures mid-80s just about everywhere with more humidity. Then we reverse course. That northwest wind on Friday, sunshine, temperatures will be cooler at 84 and the humidity will be lower as well. Should be a great day at the State Fair. Temperatures as we go into the weekend will just gradually increase. Still a beautiful day Saturday, 85. Sunday up to 87. Slight chance of thunderstorms. As you look at Tuesday of next week, that will be the next best opportunity for thunderstorms. We'll follow Tuesday's opportunity up with some more chances on a Wednesday. Notice no 90-degree heat in there and temperatures generally in the 60s for lows. We've had 14 days of 90-degree temperatures or warmer. That's about average for this time of the year, and we're close on a few occasions, but we don't have the 15th in the forecast yet.
All right, it's still early August. All right.
That's 1,560 weeks by my count for your 30 years.
Nice. Wow. All those 7-day forecasts.
Right? We'll see. Yeah, we'll calculate. Yeah, see where it goes from there. Kevin's a tennis player, so it just so happens our 30th anniversary for sports. Look at this. We found some tennis on this date in 1989. We'll tell you about. Yeah, Kevin might know. We'll give you his story coming up next.
At Zaxby's.
All right, some of the Colts looking good for their first preseason road trip. Casual, comfortable. Quentin Nelson's mustache is fantastic. Colts are at Buffalo tomorrow night. They're back in Westfield for training camp to continue on Saturday. And good evening, everyone. IndyCar got this weekend off as far as racing goes, but there's always some work to be done. Some teams testing today out in Portland ahead of the Labor Day weekend event there. Meanwhile, Firestone holding a tire test today at Texas Motor Speedway. Joseph Newgarden doing the work for the Chevy teams. Here's a look at Graham Rahal with a long day in the car for Honda. Newgarden won the race back in June in Texas. Both guys turning more than a race's worth of laps today. Newgarden's also leading the current point standings with just 4 to go on the schedule.
It's a championship where every race matters. Yeah, the last races, they look more important because you're getting down to the wire, so people put more emphasis on it, but it's one race at a time. You know, the first race is just as important as the last race, so that's kind of how we approach it. You know, we're going to go to the next round, and it's 4 to go, and you try and do the best there.
IndyCar races at Pocono next weekend. Joseph has a 16-point edge in the championship standings. Well, we're talking about Kevin's 30 years at RTV6 tonight. It seemed natural we dig into the sports archives for this day in 1989. As luck would have it, we found some tennis. One player with local ties getting ready for the Indy Tennis Championship, and Scott Hoke has a flashback edition of tonight's Sports Extra Spotlight.
Kent Kinnear is lucky to be here in more ways than one. The Greenwood native earned a wild card berth in the tournament, but last August, Kinnear was involved in a serious car accident in Connecticut, which put a temporary hold on his career.
It was a very frustrating time for me, and psychologically it was very tough. And it was something that, you know, I learned a lot. I grew a lot as a person, as a Christian, like I said earlier, and I guess it was good for me to go through, you know, but like I said, it took a while to get through. It took a while to come back. In January, I went to Australia, got in the Australian Open, which was encouraging, and this year I've just been trying to get stronger and get back to where I was, and I think I've done it. I feel pretty good.
Kinnear opens his tournament tonight in the second Stadium Court match against Pete Sampras in what will be another test on his comeback trail.
I feel good, you know, so I'm just hoping I can, hopefully here in Indianapolis will be my next step up.
He's really lost a lot of tough matches lately, so that's been rough, but he feels like he's been playing well, so we're just waiting for a break for it right now, and so we'll see there. But he's real happy to be here, and we'll see what happens under the lights tonight.
No doubt the home court advantage will be in effect tonight, as many of the locals will be in the stands. And what they'll see on the court is a quiet guy who carries a big racket.
Well, hopefully they'll see someone out there that's real aggressive, that's worked a lot on the serve and volley lately. I know back when I was in Indiana playing, I wasn't quite the serve volleyer that I am now. I used to stay back a lot more ground strokes. So hopefully I'll see a big serve and some good aggressive returns going after my opponent.
Kinnear's match against Pete Sampras, who had not yet turned 18 years old at the time. Of course, Sampras went on to win 14 major championships, 7 at Wimbledon, 5 times at the U.S. Open. One on this night as well. Neat little piece of tennis history on this night 30 years ago. By the way, Kinnear won 4 career doubles tourneys on his tour career, played singles at Wimbledon in 1992, is currently in charge of the USTA, the Tennis Association, down in Orlando. John McEnroe, by the way, won the Indy tourney that summer. Of course, became the RCA championship a couple years later. We'll be back to finish up tonight's edition of the News at 11 next.
Team Jetta, Tiguan, and Select Atlas models.
I'm speechless after 30 years.
I bet you are, but we begin the next 30 tomorrow.
It was a great day. It's been a great 30 years. Love working with my co-workers, and thanks to you.
For 30 years. On to the next.
Good night, everybody.